Mic check. Hello and good evening to all of you. Good evening and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh and in this video we shall discuss the current affairs and gazette for 17 December 2021. Before we begin the conversation, we have a set of questions from people. Good evening Bhabani. Hi Amlan. Good evening Preeti. Hello to Ashish. Good evening Neha. Good evening Netra. And then we have good evening Preeti. Good evening Preeti. All of you, good evening, and good evening to all the people who are watching offline. Good evening Mukesh as well. Good evening to all the people who are not in the conversation yet participating. There are some questions that people have asked. We'll take them immediately and after that we'll begin the conversation. So some interesting questions. Amlan has asked, why did we not pick up the news from sports? We had some questions in the UPSC this year, right? Now, UPSC prelims is what he's referring to. There are some questions which are trend setters, which are asked by UPSC. There are some questions which are path breakers, right? So if you decide the kind of question that UPSC asks in pre-examination, some are general questions that could be traditional questions, conceptual questions, fact-related questions, traditional questions, or those could be current affairs based. So this is what UPSC usually asks. And there could be some questions that set new trends, right? But there are some questions which also are deflecting in nature. So they tell us what not to prepare. There are few odd questions. One is not required to attempt all the 100 questions or 90 out of 100 questions in UPSC examination. They are not required to attempt. Many people do attempt. तुक्के तो सब मारते हैं. We all go with the fluke, right? But 90 is not expected that a person should know. In fact, a person knowing around 60 questions also, all of them being correct, this is a very, very safe game and they will definitely be able to clear the exam. Plus, if there are questions, they can eliminate options. So maybe, they attempt 70, 75, 72 questions. That is good. So there are 15 questions, maybe 15 plus minus 5, they must be left and they should not be seen as something that one should prepare on. So the target should not be to look at those exception questions, right? Exceptions are always there, but they are always rare, right? So this is very important to understand, right? We will not consider those kind of questions which are deflecting in nature, which will deflect our complete, methodology of preparation, because UPSC is not about it. Yes, what we will cover is something significant regarding sports. For example, the holding of Olympic event, and that was covered. There's another series that is called as Nakshebazi, and another one on the history of nearly everything. History of Nearly Everything series conducted by Anand sir, that is free on YouTube again. In that we had covered one theme, Olympics, the history of Olympics, and we covered this particular aspect of it, right? So what we will cover is what are the issues in India, what are the kind of schemes government is running. Government is running a top scheme, if you remember, we had covered this in terms. So those things become very important, right? Then we have another question by Amlan. He says higher chemical base. Yes, he says that the price of organic food is higher than the chemical based food. Why is it so, right? Why is it not that income generation is still less in organic food when the prices are high? It is so because, see, there are many factors here involved, and in the supply demand game, the eventual producer does not actually receive huge sum of money. It is the middle persons who receive, and that is why these are the consumers and these are the middle persons. Not middlemen, middle persons, right? Gender neutral term. So the government, this is why it's trying to link the consumers directly to the producer so that they get the right pay, right? It is all the supply demand game. If the supply is restricted, which is constrained right now in India also regarding organic food, but demand is high among urban people, among people who are aware, the middle persons will automatically raise the cost. See, they will be the one who will be benefiting out of it. But yes, people also do benefit, but there are other factors also, right? A couple of people have also mentioned the other factors. I also shared a couple of them, right? So Kriti asked the question about the prices of food going high in developing countries and going relatively less in the developed countries. See, when the countries grow, their economy grows, then the share that they have, the share of economy in the agriculture sector, it keeps on reducing. So from 20% right now, India's share of agriculture also will keep reducing with time. It will keep reducing and it might come down to say 5% eventually, right? So it does not mean the value of agriculture produced has gone down. It just means that the share of agriculture in the whole economy has gone down. Share. Although because economy is also inflating, it is possible that the actual share, that is 20%, for example 20% right now, and if this is $1 trillion, just an example, $1 trillion, this 5% decrease proportion after 10 years, this might be even more than $1 trillion because the economy also has expanded, no? Because economy has expanded, there will be more products and services. There will be more of spending of money in variety of products, diversity. There will be spending in food also. Food product also will be more diverse than before. But the effective consumption of various products in the economy will also increase, right? Proportionately more than the food increase. So this is an indicator of a developed economy. All right. Moving ahead. What is the next question? It's good to see questions because you are thinking right now. All right. Then we have Jyotish, good evening to you. Hi Sam. Good evening Ravi. Hi Tiasha. Good evening to all of you. If there are more questions or if I have missed something, please point it out. Let's begin the conversation. Interesting conversation today. So, what do we have in the Gazette today? In the current affairs, we have electoral reforms bill introduced. Now, this is an important reform in the electoral processes, something that could not be done politically in the parliament. We are introducing some of the reforms through some procedures. So this is the bill, but yes, definitely not on, against corruption or against the muscle politics that is happening in elections. This is some good reform we will talk about. The second one is the independence of Election Commission of India. This is utmost significant as far as the order of precedence, table of precedence in governance in India is concerned. We will understand that. And the third one is extension of Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana in the country. 3 update articles here, all of them significant. This day in history dedicated to the first human flight that was in the first decade of the 20th century by the Wright brothers. It was today itself they executed their first flight. Featured news for today is on a very important theme, urban cooperative banks. We will cover in totality what is the thing that is making urban cooperative banks in news all the time. What is regarding their inefficiency or efficiency, even despite having such a wide presence? Why such a small consumer base? And a question regarding urban cooperative banks was also asked in the pre-examination. This is a significant theme to discuss. We will discuss in totality this in the feature news. Right? Image of the day is on wispy ice formation in Antarctica. Right? The terms that we cover today are 1. Green hydrogen microgrid near Visakhapatnam, and the largest microgrid getting formed and being executed by NTPC. The second one is Xenobots. Right? So organic bots which are getting created with the help of stem cells, frog stem cells. Bhu Parikshak and Swadhar Greh, 2 more terms. The 3 editorials that we understand quickly today are one about WTO, World Trade Organization, and MSP issue. All the time India is in the trouble because of MSP in WTO. We'll understand this crisis. The second one is on Putin's visit to India. It is picked up from IDSA. And the third one is the road project, build, operate and transfer road projects, and the reason why they are getting into this kind of distress. The case studies of the green belt at Africa, right, at the Sahel region. So let's start the conversation. We have somebody saying something, hydroponics, the future, unaffordable to many today. Absolutely. Neha says, if organic farm products are grown on a large scale, then it may earn more because organic products are largely export oriented, and also organic farming takes time to stabilize returns. If organic farm products are grown on a large scale, then it may earn more because organic products are largely export products. Yes, absolutely true. Yes, right now India is exporting a huge amount of organic product. Absolutely, that's true. And not only the product, but agricultural raw material for organic product is also what is India exporting, right? So organic seeds, organic variety of fertilizers, they are exported to other countries from India, right? Because there is less demand in India, they have to export, and other countries are importing this. Imagine that. Ravi says hydroponics the future. Absolutely, hydroponics is the future. The cultivation of crops without the use of soil, right? It is happening in Japan, it is happening in urban areas, in India itself. We have covered quite a few case studies of hydroponics. It is the future, but it is unsustainable right now, right? In the present economic level. So good that you have started thinking on these lines. See, this is where the knowledge sharing happens. You guys got to read the comments, right? So let's begin this Electoral Reforms Bill 2021. Now, this Electoral Reform Bill has been introduced to merge the Aadhaar database along with the electoral roll. So what is an electoral roll? Electoral roll is the list of all the persons registered from one constituency or one particular place to vote. For example, if I am registered from a place in Rajasthan, I have to be voting from that place only. Yes, I can change this place. If I migrate to another place, I can change this place, but this is again a tedious bureaucratic process to do this. So if we have our Aadhaar cards data seeded along with electoral rolls, that means there will be one-to-one match, there will be one-to-one correspondence. Electoral rolls will not have extra names. My name, if I have moved from Rajasthan to Kerala, my name might be put up in the Kerala constituency electoral roll, but if it is not removed from Rajasthan, there will be duplication. This is happening in our country, right? There have been cases where duplicate electoral rolls also have been formed for people, right? So because Aadhaar data is authentic, because it is matched with biometric identities also, therefore there is greater degree of authenticity in the electoral processes. This is one important reform that we are talking of, right? So this bill is already under execution, linking of voter iCard with Aadhaar, right? So this is a part of electoral reform. Please note this down. Right now happening at voluntary basis. You know why? Because anything that relates to Aadhaar needs to be voluntary. It cannot be imposed on people because of privacy concerns, because of issues of autonomy over oneself, right? This is one. The second important reform that we are going to execute through this bill is that of introducing multiple cutoff dates. Right now, if a person has turned at the age of 18, if they have turned 18, they can get registered only once, that is January 1, right, with the Election Commission. So when they want to go and vote, if they have turned 18 on January 2, they will have to wait the whole year cycle to get them registered, whole year. And imagine the young population that we have. 1 crore people would at least be exempted, or they would be left out of voting processes. And we have multiple votings happening, no? We have to vote for our local area, the state and the whole country. So we are holding out many people, lakhs and lakhs, in fact crores of people every year, in case we have only one time in the year for registration. So now having multiple cutoff dates, important thing, right? What is the next important reformation? General neutral. Now there are service voters, people in the armed forces, they are posted somewhere at a different place. So these are called as service voters, right? People in central government duty or jobs, defense services posted out of India. Now they also have the right to vote. So their spouse can vote for them. And right now the provision is such that it is only written who is the wife of this person should be able to vote. But why only wife of? Why is it not possible that the wife is posted out and the husband is at home and he can vote? So those, that provision was never there. So right now we will be putting gender neutral words, very important. And the fourth one is Election Commission can take any premises in requirement whenever it needs, be it school spaces as well, right? So these are the 4 important updates that have happened. Now noteworthy to mention is that Election Commission had already wanted these reforms earlier, especially the Aadhaar data to be one-to-one matched with the electoral rolls. But that time Supreme Court judgment, it restricted the use of Aadhaar only for delivering the valuable services to people. So then our Election Commission, which is an independent body, it started to consult the Law Ministry, and then Law Ministry asked questions. What are you doing to ensure that this is a foolproof process, and what are the reformations that you're suggesting? Election Commission said that we are making it a voluntary process right now. See, so Election Commission, an independent body, has still got to be performing in sync with the executive, that the Law Ministry, and in sync with judiciary, and that is why making it voluntary right now. See, so although independent body, this becomes a case for you. This becomes a case if you are critically looking at it. election commission, independent body, has to still work in sync with other bodies. A good example of it, although the news is something else. Good. All right. So what are the benefits? We have a lot of benefits. Crores and crores of people, migrant laborers, migrant population, you and I sitting at different places, not at our homes. Now these are the migrant votes. And will you imagine? Don't judge me, but I have never voted. So this is something that is an issue in our country, right? I couldn't go back every time there was election being held at my home, and I have not changed my electoral roll state as well. So because of this migrant votes, many people have been exempted, not exempted, they have been left out of this process, this democratic process, and that is why the voting in India is around, say, 60%. Only 60% of the eligible voters come and turn up for voting, despite being educated enough. So this is one thing that will happen. We will also be able to curb multiple enrollments, right? So this duplicacy will get reduced. This is a very, very good achievement, no? Very good reform. This was already speculated was to happen, and it has finally happened, right? What are the concerns? Sensitive information of people, multiple cutoff dates, right, will increase the effort of ECI, because earlier एक ही बार काम कर रहे थे, एक ही बार ऑफिस खुल रहा था, अब 4 बार खुलेगा. Requisitioning of schools, if they are taking up school spaces during COVID times, they will have to indulge in extra, making of the whole area free of corona and then disinfecting the place. So this is the update from the first snapshot. Let me see if somebody is saying anything. Sir, please explain. Jyotish says, hi Pratiksha, good evening. Jyotish says, sir, please explain MSP versus FRP versus SAP while discussing the MSP issue. Okay, we'll talk about it. Then we have Independence of Election Commission of India. There is an order of precedence in our country, order of precedence. And this is declared by the President Secretariat, and this is executed by the Home Ministry, right? So Home Ministry is the one which notifies all this. Order of precedence indicates that during ceremonies or events, who is the person who has to be given maximum precedence? सबसे ऊंची पादी पे कौन है? President, executive, and then the vice president, and then the prime minister anywhere in the country. These are the first 3 executives, right? And then we have governors of state in their particular state, then former presidents and deputy prime ministers, and then chief justice and speaker of Lok Sabha. See, so and these things are something that are usually asked in state PCS examinations. So they ask if president is first in the order of precedence, or is it prime minister? Is chief justice placed above the prime minister? So this is the order of precedence. You should know this. If you just type order of precedence India, all this will come up. And right. So I just want to say that chief justice and speaker of Lok Sabha are at 6th position, and then cabinet ministers, chief ministers within their respective state. Chief ministers come so low, and former prime ministers later. Holders of Bharat Ratna have a very high position. See, the chief of the staffs are still not present. And then we have chairmen or chairpersons of the Election Commission or UPSC, CAG, very high positions, independent bodies, right? And then deputy chairman, and then IS officers are also here in the list, secretaries, etc. But they are cabinet secretary. The highest ranked IS officer is placed along with attorney general at 11th position. And below that, right now we are still speaking of ministers and members of parliament. See, and after that, cabinet ministers outside their state, chief commissioners, right, deputy chairman. So this is the complete list. And then we also have, see, then army commanders and members of some commission, lieutenant general rank, and secretaries. See, additional secretaries are right now here. Now you can well imagine that a person who is placed at an independent position, chief election commission, can they be asked to get present or be present in the office of a secretary or a principal secretary to the prime minister? No, because they are present at a higher position in the order of precedence. And we can see that this is something that has not been followed. A very good case for ethics, governance and ethics, where the chief election commissioner expressed reservation over the wordings of a letter from the prime minister's office. So prime minister is assisted by various civil servants. He has his own, or he or she, they have in their own office. And the principal officer who is assisting prime minister is that of the rank of principal secretary, a very, very coveted position, principal secretary. This is a very senior IAS officer. So the principal secretary has said that they are going to discuss something on the event of about elections, and the CEC is required to be present there. Now, when the principal secretary is calling a meeting, then they should not be asking that expects CEC, Chief Election Commissioner, an independent body, to be present. On the other hand, they should be present in their office, in the office of Chief Election Commissioner. This is, in the word itself, it reflects the autonomy and the supremacy of the executive over independent bodies. An independent body like the Chief Election Commissioner, right? So this is where order of precedence also becomes important. UPSC might not ask this question straight, but this becomes a case for you. The order of precedence becomes the question for prelims examination, right? So this is a constitutional authority, see, and then you're calling a constitutional authority. Call on is the word. Call on means go and meet. The government officers go and meet the election commissioners, not the other way round, right? According to protocol. And this is going against the protocol, established protocol. All right. So CEC is an institution in itself, independent body under Article 324 of the Constitution, and their removal is just like that of a Supreme Court judge. What is the procedure? 2/3 of the present and voting in the House, right? And what else? What else? They are appointed by the president, but once appointed, their terms and conditions of service cannot be changed against their, against them, right? So all the three, election commissioners and CEC and election commissioners, all of them are equal to each other. All of them are equal to each other while we talk of decision making, and the decision is taken in majority. So one chief election commissioner and 2 of election commissioners. If there are 3 people and there is dissenting vote, 2 out of 3 will be followed when decisions are taken. But when it comes on removal of election commissioner, CEC has to be removed. How? Just like the judge of the Supreme Court. But election commissioner can be removed on the recommendation of Chief Election Commissioner itself. So the office of Election Commissioner is not as independent. It becomes compromised. It possibly can become compromised. Not only that, there are other things also that you can see here. The Chief Election Commissioner, they can be reappointed at other government positions also after this office. So government can lure them into different offices if they follow what government has to say. Again, independence is curbed. So these are important reforms that are required in Indian polity, right? These are important criticisms, right? Previously, government also amended the Right to Information Act, right? So the central information officer and the other information officers, right? Their terms of service and their appointment, the state level officers, all of them were placed under the control of the central government. So if the government is controlling an independent body indirectly or directly, this is not a healthy development for a democracy. This is what I would like to point from here, right? A good case study for you. Political bias, right? Institutional protection is there. See, these are the keywords. Institutional protection, yet a political bias could be there because of these kind of provisions, right? So these are the updates from the second snapshot. The third one is on, Sam says, sir, is your voter card still active? I have no idea. Hi Aditya, good evening. I don't know. See, voter card is an important card for proof of identification, right? So it is there at home, an important card. Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. This Yojana, which got initiated in the year 2014, now has been extended in the year 2021 up to 2025, right? So this is an umbrella scheme under which many smaller components are also a part of it. So accelerated irrigation benefits program, more crop per drop, right? And har khet ko pani. So these are various smaller schemes. Here fund is provided, accelerated irrigation benefit program. More crop per drop is about intense agriculture practice. So this is precision agriculture, precision harvesting, precision water resources passing, right? This is more crop per drop. Then we have har khet ko pani. We are creating watersheds or channels through which water can pass to individual fields. Now, please remember that around 50% of India is irrigated. And 50% of India is dependent on water. It is dependent on rain. It is rain fed. 50% only is irrigated. This is assured irrigation. This is contingent irrigation on the basis of the kind of rains that region has. So dependent on the vagaries of monsoon largely. And that is the reason that we start a scheme like this, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. Put these kind of data in your answers. So that is why they have initiated and ensured that this scheme runs for the times to come. Right? There is a difference between command area and catchment area. Catchment area is the area where we catch water, catchment area, and command area is the area that water will go and serve to people. So, for example, if this is the river which flows, and the geography, the landscape is such that the water, all these streams, they flow in this particular fashion, and it actually joins the whole stream. So this is the command area. But there are places where the water may go and it may serve through canals, through other ways of irrigation. So these are the command area. The river commands that area, right? So this scheme is to ensure that there is a larger command area. The water runs through all those places. Now there will be inclusion of tribal and drought prone areas more easily than before. So these are some added advantages. Do remember, more crop per drop. What is it? It is about water use efficiency. So drip irrigation and sprinkler irrigation, right? So their effective use. Now those are not as economical, no? Subsidies provided by the government. So another scheme where government is putting it efforts. Physical access to water through Har Khet Ko Pani, right? So these are the important keywords that you should note, and this is over for you, right? That's all you have to mention. Also, this is a centrally sponsored scheme. That means the center is giving some funds. The state also has to pool in some funds. This is not a central sector scheme. This is a centrally sponsored scheme. Okay. Ravi says expires after 3 years of inactivity. Is it so? Okay, I will find out and I will let you know. I will let myself also know. All right. This day in history dedicated to the Wright brothers, who ensured that this is the first flight of a body which was heavier than air itself. Earlier, before this, we did have those air balloons in which people would fly, and researchers have gone into the sky with that. But a body which is heavier than air using a machine, and they are making it fly. This happened for the first time through Wright brothers in the year 1903. Many people who were not there could not witness. They did not even believe that this thing has happened. But will you imagine, just in a couple of decades from then, we had fighter planes indulging in dog fights. Such kind of efficiency Germany and USA had built, right? So Wright brothers, do remember them? One of the it just says what we can imagine, we can achieve, right? So this is, and now we are taking humans to the moon and Mars. This is what is imagined. Where does Elon Musk want to die? He says, I would not prefer to die on Earth. I would rather die on Mars. Featured news for the day on urban cooperative banks. Very interesting story about urban cooperative banks. We will discuss what is the beginning of it. What was the issue because of which they are not efficient despite their outreach throughout the whole country. Can you imagine, their outreach is more than 90%, but despite being having this outreach, their percentage effectiveness and loan provision, all of this is hardly 3%. So we will understand the complete story of urban cooperatives and what is the issue, what are we going to do about these kind of banks. So what has the government thought about them? We will understand this. Image of the day is on the wispy ice formations in Antarctica. See, what happens in a place like Antarctica is that there are layers of ice formation, layers of ice formation, and some of it also melts. Some of it also happens to get separated because of the winds, the very, very fast winds blowing there, and because of the water currents also, right? So this is a very unique kind of shape that we see here. There are quite a few terms here to discuss. So Neelas, what are Neelas? And then what is the other term? That is sea ice. Sea ice is the ice that is over the sea, forms over the sea at multiple times. Neelas are also very synonymous terms. Ice formed at very cold, at very stable places without any movement of water. So what this image largely represents is one layer, right? One layer of ice, right? This is in the water, and then because of winds, there is a gap. There is a gap, and this gap, of course, will be filled later. But you see another layer of ice, and there is a wedge created in between, right? This wedge, of course, there would be, this is water, and there would be ice, linking to the base also later. But as the image is seen through the satellite, what it seems like is that there is a gap. And because the place is so cold, just a few days back we had studied, Antarctica, the coldest places on Earth. So the ice have, they have formed these small structures called as wispy ice formation. See, these small structures, wispy ice formations. So this is a very interesting image. Thank you, Edukemy, for putting an image like this. Terms and concepts for today. The first one is green hydrogen microgrid project. This is the largest microgrid project being implemented by NTPC through Ministry of Power. Largest one in the whole world right now. And this is being executed by NTPC. The main idea is to ensure that microgrids be installed. Microgrids, small grids. So these are grids, are those power stations through which we can ensure that transmission of electricity is done to multiple locations. Not just that, जहां पर produce किया वहीं पर use नहीं किया. We are transmitting it, we are connecting it to various other places. And this is the green hydrogen microgrid. Question was asked about brown carbon, brown carbon or something this time. So green means through, green means. So this electricity, this energy will be produced through production of hydrogen through electrolysis. This is the significant thing. Now, why significant? Because we are importing 85% oil and around 50% plus of gas requirements. And that is why, see, few days back we had covered, that the price of LPG, home LPG is increasing. We import more than 50% of LPG. That is why. That is why we are affected by the price that is present globally. Saudi Aramco prices in Russia, they are all the ones which affect the prices in India for gases also, right? Where are we going to ensure that this kind of energy created is utilized? We are going to utilize them in traditional industry only, fertilizer industry, oil refineries, all of them, right? So this is the first term. Most of the data that I mentioned is for you to understand things, and you can put these kind of data when you talk about import dependence, energy dependence. Green hydrogen is only an example, right? Green hydrogen at Simhadri near Visakhapatnam is only an example. But this data can be put at other places and put to use. All right. Sun NRC की list में exclude हो सकते हो. Okay. Xenobots. Xenobots are those small bots. Bots, you understand? Bots are like robots. So these are those bots which are a combination of biology and engineering done on bio creatures. Now these bots are created with the help of frogs. Their stem cells taken from scraped from the embryo of frog, taken out from the embryo of frog. So what are these stem cells? These are pluripotent cells. We all were stem cells only. हम बहुत छोटे थे ना, मम्मी के जब पेट में थे, we were also these small stem cells only, and these stem cells were pluripotent. That single cell which yielded into many organs, many potent characteristics, it multiplied, no? So when it multiplied, then there was speciality developed of heart, of brain, and then eyes, and then limbs. So this is what happens to a frog as well. But if the stem cells are taken at those times when they have not divided, they can be utilized for creation of many other things that is possible. The heart again can be regenerated, provided we have those specific, body specific pluripotent cells. So frogs, pluripotent cells have been, stem cells have been taken so that they could be utilized to do a lot of activity, right? A lot of different kind of biological activities. They are biodegradable. This is bioengineering, you should note, and these are biodegradable. So not only that, what is in news is that they can replicate. Of course they can replicate, no, but scientifically in bioengineering they are making this replication and doing the biological activity. This is amazing. So this is in news, right? Science and technology, biotechnology, developments, and ethics as well, right? So we are playing with nature here. All right, Bhu Parikshak. Pinnacle, thank you very much. Pinnacle, why don't you participate in daily conversations here? We meet every day. हर रोज मिलते हैं हम लोग. We meet every day, Monday to Friday. Today is Friday. I will miss you guys on Saturday, Sunday, but then Saturday is for revision, no, and Sunday is for some celebration. So we will meet again on Monday. But yes, today a lot of things are still remaining. We still have the featured news and quite a few terms and editorials to discuss. So let's quickly wrap them up. Bhu Parikshak. What is Bhu Parikshak? Now we have had these soil testing, no, soil testing, soil health cards for different places. If this soil testing is done at a place in a very fast manner, 90 seconds. This is what IIT, one of the IITs in India, has achieved. 90 seconds. Put those 5 grams of the soil on this atop this machine, and it will tell the composition of 6 products. What are the 6 products? So nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, organic carbon, clay, and soil's exchange capacity. What is this? I don't know. I'm really sorry for this. So it will talk about the important minerals present. It will also recommend जो कमी है वो पूरा कर देंगे, right? So it is a very good Bhu Parikshak device. Soil testing and fertilizer utility analysis. Keep this as an example. Keep this as a case also when you talk about agricultural development, right? So this is a very good device. Swadhar Greh for females. Social issues, social development. Paper 1 and paper 2. If you guys have seen that current affairs video, how to make current affairs notes, you should automatically know where this note should be going, right? So when we talk of Swadhar Greh, just a few days back we spoke of another Greh. Remember, another Greh for the marginalized sections. What were those sections and what was the name of that Greh? Please tell me that. And I assure you that I will sing for you. I will sing for you if you guys start answering my questions. So Swadhar Greh. This is what is for those women, destitute women, vulnerable women, women who are in difficult circumstances. Target women victims of difficult circumstances. They are destitute. That means there is nobody for them left on earth and they are homeless. Destitute females, then widows, those people who have been, the society has rejected them. So support for rehabilitation is done at Swadhar Greh, right? So this is a very noble initiative. What does it do to them? It actually tries to ensure that they rehabilitate themselves and get into the mainstream economy. Not only that, legal aid, guidance, counseling, adjustment in family, society, emotional strength, so much of it. Swadhar Greh. Garima Greh, absolutely Amlan, absolutely. Garima Greh for which section? That is important. Thank you. Thank you, Netra. Cation is anion, cation. Right, cation is positively charged ions. Absolutely. For transgenders. Absolutely correct. Both of you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you for this assistance. Editorials of the day. The first editorial is on World Trade Organization and MSP challenge. See, yesterday only we studied, no, that World Trade Organization has warned India again on the sugar subsidies, right? And somebody of you also asked, ये sugar में FRP क्या है? FRP and what is MSP? So while India gives these kind of subsidies, why are you giving direct subsidies? This editorial says MSP is not the right way to go about it, because MSP is providing direct subsidy, direct input to the farmers. Why not get into universal basic income? Why not getting into the income based support? If you are giving price support for a product, then the trading of that product, international trading of that product will definitely get, it will get hampered. There will be, competition, from India, and people will raise objections if we have price based support. Give income based support to the poor farmers. That is the way to go. This is the crux of this, right? So right now price support is being given and India is escaping through the peace clause. Every time I have told you this peace clause states, before that WTO says that if 10%, अगर कोई भी agricultural product जो हम export कर रहे हैं, total हम बना रहे हैं, if 10% of it is what we provide as subsidy, it is fine. But if it is 10.1% of subsidy and it is being traded internationally, then this is not good and they will have to cut down their subsidies. India is providing way more than 10% subsidies right now. Of course, there are shortcomings in this process also. The base year is different and the calculation are based on 1986 figures. So Point being that India should not give these kind of subsidies. India should give the support of income to farmers, to the poorer sections. Not only farmers, poor section, पूरे India का एक साथ welfare होगा, and it will be direct support. There are many advantages of giving the income based support. See, right now price based support has many supports. For example, minimum support price, right? And then we are redistributing the food grains. Lot of it gets waste. 30% of it gets waste. Whatever received amongst people, 17% is what we waste. Imagine the kind of wastage we have. So not only that, we are giving many of the subsidies. For example, water is not charged, electricity is subsidized, diesel subsidy is given, kerosene is given, right? So much of it is given. And then what about fertilizer subsidy? So much. Input subsidies, seed development, so much, seed kits. So if you calculate the total amount that we are investing and giving to farmers, far lesser amount will give them the similar kind of result, similar kind of cash money in which they can cultivate anything. They will not have to cultivate only rice and wheat. So many advantages, but see, it is only because of political initiations that the government is now in a trap. Okay, so this is what the editorial recommends, a far wiser method to go ahead with. All right, the third one first then. The third one second. Putin's visit to India, launch of a revitalized partnership. We have discussed most aspects of this article previously. A quick recap, and this is from IDSA. We have started to diversify our sources also so that you get enriched knowledge about this. So this is of Putin's visit to India. Very important to notice that he has visited India, and after Corona pandemic, it is only his second visit, beyond Russia, and he has ensured that he visits India before he visits China. So this is indicative of the kind of relationship both the countries have. 50 years of friendship treaty between both the countries, and both the countries although share around $35 billion is the bilateral investment, and they have vouched that this investment will go to $50 billion by 2025, and also they are going to ensure that $10 billion of trade, $30 billion of trade be achieved by the year 2025. Right now, the trade is only $10 billion. Pathetic. We have discussed that this kind of trade, Russia and China have $100 billion trade, and Russia and India have only $10 billion. This must increase. So economic partnership must increase alongside strategic and defense partnership. Okay? So this is one component of the discussion. The other component says what all they have discussed. They have said we will cooperate in areas of defense, nuclear energy, fossil fuel, counterterrorism, drug trafficking, space health, etc. Along with that, they have mentioned 2-3 strategic dimensions. See, you should not forget 6 lakh AK weapons to be created in India. Make in India scheme. Not only that, so Make in India, Russia is assisting. Not only that, Russia is also wanting India to participate in Arctic exploration, energy exploration. So this is very good. This was the first 2+2 dialogue also between India and Russia, going beyond the 2+2 between the Quad members. Not only that, now see, look at the participation of China. Becomes very critical. This part is something that we have never discussed. There are 3 ways in which China is also disturbing Russia. First is its increased presence of military in Tajikistan. China has a smaller base, but now because of Afghanistan crisis, they have raised their presence in Tajikistan. This is what is considered as near abroad, paas kahi, near abroad by Russia. Russia is not happy with this. Second, China is also dominating, the issue of Afghanistan crisis. Russia is not. They have all their, differences here. And China has also declared the Arctic region as you would be very, it is hilarious to know. China has declared itself as near Arctic state. Russia is not happy about it. Why are you calling yourself a near Arctic state? You are very far from it. I am between it. If you see the map, Russia is a huge country, and then we have China like this. Russia is the largest country in the world area wise, and then we have Canada, and then we have China, and then USA. And interestingly enough, only 10% of population resides in those areas of Arctic where there is 50% of Russia's resources, oil, natural gas, and all other resources. And India has been offered to participate in the research here, right? So these are the important issues. They were celebrating Vladivostok Day. Russians were celebrating this in their embassy in China, and there were some remarks passed against Russia. So these are the kind of disturbances that we have started to see between Russia and China as well. The article also mentions that after the issue of 2014 issue of Crimea, we have discussed Crimea issue, right? After this issue, European Union had more differences with Russia, and this is how Russia, it parted ways. It went more towards Pakistan, Turkey, Iran, and China. And where did India go? India, China, and India, USA, right? A good schematic. See, this is a good schematic. I randomly drew, but is of importance, right? So this is from this editorial, and the second editorial, let us quickly understand the issues with this editorial. Build, operate, and transfer. This is one of the schemes of PPP projects. Public-private partnership, right? So when we have the issue in engineering and construction companies, what is the issue? There are many issues. For example, risk assessment is faulty. The risk assessment of the project is faulty. Risk allocation is faulty, right? So allocating, suppose X worth X amount of rupees for a project which will not get completed in 5 years. See? And once there is a delay of time, once there is a lag in time, then there will be extra cost. The same project which was to cost say 10 rupees, the cost will increase to 13 rupees. We will also have to pay extra interest for this 10 and increase interest for 3 rupees extra. Because of this, many of the projects, they have failed. Many of the infrastructure projects have failed. There is a complete financial stress, demise of construction, and it has twin implications, right? Now, if with twin, what I remember is twin balance sheet problem. Do you know the twin balance sheet problem? The first balance sheet problem is that of the company in stress. Their asset liability is in stress. So that is the company, and then since they have taken a loan from the banks, then this also disturbs the balance sheet of the banks. Their asset goes haywire, it becomes a non-performing asset. So quick summary of this particular editorial as well, right? So we go to the case study of the day. Let me see what people are mentioning here. Pinnacle. What has Pinnacle said? So WTO can impose sanctions. Yes, WTO can impose sanctions. Yes, WTO can impose sanctions on India. Absolutely. And that is why India needs to reform these methods. No? Thanks, Pinnacle. Thanks, Bibani. Okay. So, yes, somebody of you had asked about FRP. FRP and the difference between FRP and the other one is MSP. MSP is given for various other crop products, around 26 of them by the government. And this is SMP, statutory minimum price or fair remunerative price. This is the pricing for sugar and one more crop. I'm forgetting what that crop is, but this is a different pricing mechanism, and for sugar in specialty, and this is for rice, and then we have paddy, wheat, and other vegetable crops. Some other crops as well, some millets as well have been introduced in this, and we have tried to diversify, but the MSP for the traditional crops have been very high, right? So this is the primary difference between both of them. Case study of the day. So before we get on to the case study, if you like this initiative, share some love on us through likes, comments, and subscribes to this channel, right? If you do subscribe, you will receive timely updates for such interesting videos that we regularly keep publishing. Case study of the day is on the combating of the Sahel region, the desertifying region, through creation of a green wall. The wall that will be the highest that will be the most, the largest natural structure that will be existent once it is completely created. And if you guys remember, what is the sustainable development goal that is working against desertification? Anybody? What is the sustainable development goal number that is working against desertification? Please speak that up. So this is what is happening in Africa. We are creating a green wall. Through this creation of green wall, what will happen is we cannot remove the deserts, no, but we can at least ensure that the desert, the winds flowing, they do not migrate these small particles, the dust particles and the particles of the arid region into those areas which are which are well cultivated, which are green, and it should ensure that the area does not become desertified again. Not only that, if we plant green crops, this wall that will get created, it will start ensuring that there is water seepage inside. There is no runoff of the water. And because water recharge will happen, there will be a better water table. This will lead to rejuvenation of the complete landscape. This is the area where a huge amount of poor population resides of the world. This will not only generate employment for them, this will also sequester carbon. Wow, such many benefits. So world's poorest people will get jobs, carbon will be sequestered, the degraded land will be restored, crops will again be grown in this area. Beautiful, no? And 8,000 kilometers. This is the length of this natural wonder that we are going to create. This is already initiated, right? We have to maintain this. We have to ensure that this becomes bigger in size. And once it becomes big, it will be so big that it will be the largest living structure. Yes, that's what I wanted to say. Largest living structure in the world, 3 times the size of the Great Barrier Reef. Okay, right? The quote of the day is, when we heal the earth, we heal ourselves, right? And through processes like these also we heal ourselves, no? When we are talking, when we are discussing, we heal ourselves. So let us see what is the conversation here. In China also recently they have built a green wall. All right, let us find out. I will find out and I will get back. Abu says, sir, offline class chalti hai Edukemy पर, offline classes. यही इसी को offline देख लेना, इसी को आप offline देख ले बाद में, ये online पड़ा रहेगा. It will be there on the YouTube channel itself. You can view it anytime you want. In China, yes, Pinnacle, I will find this out. Amlan says, till now it is only available on online platform. Offline, acha, you mean offline classes? No, Edukemy is now having only an online platform. 15, what are you talking about, guys? 15? Protect life on land. Oh yes, SDG 15, all right. Okay, is it 15 or 5? That is my question. All right, one more important thing, you guys, I wanted to share with you. This is the list of the intangible cultural heritage of India. I hope you are able to see this. This is the intangible cultural heritage of India declared by UNESCO. 14th one declared as Durga Puja, and it was in news yesterday. We covered this. But what are the rest of the 13? First one is Vedic chanting. You should remember all these 13. They can ask you in MCQs any day. Vedic chanting. Second one is Ram Leela, traditional performance of Ramayan. And then third one is Kuttiyam, Sanskrit theatre, right? Fourth one is Ramam, religious festival and ritual theatre in Garhwal region of Himalaya. Then is Mudiyettu, ritual theatre and dance drama of Kerala. Fifth is Kalbelia, folk songs and dance of Rajasthan. We covered Kalbelia tribes, no, a couple of months back. The seventh is Chhau dance in the eastern region of India. The eighth one is Buddhist chanting of Ladakh, recitation of sacred Buddhist texts, and in the Ladakh Himalayan region, Jammu Kashmir belt as well. Ninth one is Sankirtan, ritual singing, drumming and dancing of Manipur, Sankirtan. The 10th one is traditional brass and copper craft of utensil making among the Thateras of the Punjab region, right? Traditional brass and copper craft utensils. The 11th one is yoga. 12th is Navroz, the festival celebrated by which community? Persian, Iranian community. And then we have Kumbh Mela, which was declared in the year 2017-18. And now we have Durga Puja also declared as the 14th one. So this becomes important. In fact, some cultural significance, some significance of these must be, each of them must be known by you, right? So this is the update from here, and we will quickly move on to the featured news, right? So I will see you in that particular conversation. Pinnacle, thank you very much for saying that SDG 5 is for gender equality. Thank you. Great that you guys remember this. So I will see you in the next video very quickly, right? That is on the urban cooperative banks. We'll discuss the complete story of this and what is the present situation in our country. So thank you for watching. There are questions, there are inputs, please share with them. Share with me. There are suggestions for improvement. We will also work on that. And thank you for participating, all the online and the people who view us offline. Thank you for participation. I will see you on Monday for the people who are not participating in the featured news, but for the people, other people, see you right in a short while. Thank you for watching. Rajput, you're not late. I'm still there, Rajput. I will see you in the next video, featured video. So do we get the PDF of this lecture? Yes, you do get the PDF of this lecture on edukemy.com website. Go to edukemy.com, go to resources section, and there you will find current affairs, gazette. Just type your phone number or email ID. You will get this PDF. This is PDF that is released from Monday to Friday. You will get it at around 4:30 in the evening. This is also uploaded on the website. So I will see you guys. Amlan, Kriti, thank you each of you.